I'm Gino Baker. I was born in Cumberland, Maryland in 1940. I grew up in Maryland, and at the age 13, I saw the F-100 was first introduced, and I saw that airplane, and I knew I had to fly. And so I began studying how do you become an F-100 fighter pilot. And of course, at the time, you had to be an aviation cadet. And so I studied all about aviation cadets, and I knew all the history of the aviation cadets, and I started flying as soon as I was old enough. I got accepted, got slowed down, and I was on my way to pilot training, but I got slowed down I needed my teeth repaired because I had too many bad cavities. And in the time it took for me to get my teeth fixed to the time I got back to the Air Force, they had filled the last aviation cadet class for pilots. So I had the choice, and in fact it was offered if I had an interest in going to the Air Force Academy. I was engaged to be married a year after aviation cadets, and I said that ain't gonna work. because first of all, I didn't know what the Air Force Academy was, and the second thing was it wasn't going to fit my schedule, but we were on track on it. So I went to navigator training. Flew backseat 101 for 4 years out of Lockport Air Force Base. Got accepted to pilot training. Went to Williams Air Force Base, Phoenix, Arizona, pilot training. Graduated number 2 in my class. Got an F-100 to Vietnam, and so I fulfilled my life dream, but couldn't be happier. So I flew my combat tour in Vietnam, came back to the States, did a couple of years as an instructor for Air Training Command. I went back to Thailand in the F-4 Phantom and flew out of Udon, Thailand. That was a 615th Attack Fighter Squadron. I can't remember. Let's see. There was, 615th was my F-100 squad. Can't remember the squadron, the F-4. I flew the F-4 out of Fan Rang, flew combat until the war ended in '83, and then from there I went to George Air Force Base as an instructor in the F-4, instructed a little over 4 years. During that time I spent 2 years as head of the German Top Gun School in the F-4 and trained the German top fighter pilots in that course. From there, I went to the Pentagon for a 4-year assignment, and I was coming up on 20 years, so I decided to retire at the end of 2 years at the Pentagon, and they offered me an F-15 to Okinawa, and I accepted that assignment and stayed in the Air Force for another 2 years, flew the F-15, and retired. That's my career. Can't remember the squadron names, the numbers. I mean, squadron numbers, can't remember the there. So I flew some good flying. It was nice. Good. So when I was flying the F-100, and most of our missions close air support in South Vietnam, our particular squadron in the F-100 had tur racks on our inboard pylons. Most of the F-100s didn't have that. It had a hard pylon. So we carried 3 500-pound high drag bombs on each internal pylon. We carried napalm on the outboard and 20 mite rack. And so we had 6 high drag bombs, 2 napalms, and then 20 millimeter to follow up. And we dropped one ordnance at each pass. And in close air support, you're there trying to give the guys as much cover as you can and get them out of trouble. And so we dropped one bomb at a time and make as many passes as we could, and we'd have 2 F-100s just crisscrossing across the target, keeping the friendlies backing out of their trouble and beating up on the enemy. And it was just a wonderful mission, and we had many instances where we got guys out of trouble and they'd come on the radio and thank us and stuff like that. It was pretty special, and sometimes it was very emotional. It was pretty cool. Remember when we go to South Forecourt in South Vietnam. And when we were coming home back to Phan Rang, there was a Marine Air Station on the coast about probably 100 miles south of Phan Rang. And if we had a little extra gas, we'd call Phan Thiet Tower and ask if they would like us to come by for a flyby. And they normally say yeah, but we always use a fake call sign because we didn't want to tell everybody who we were. And we come up and give them a buzz job or Top Gun pass or something like that. And but the way I can remember what years I was in Vietnam is, of course, we were using this fake call sign. Remember, that's part of the story. So we're on alert on New Year's Eve, and we get scrambled off down to Fort Corp and close air support mission, and we hit the target, and we're coming back, and we got a little extra gas. And I called out Phan Thiet Tower as Alpha Delta 1968. That was my call sign. I'd like to come by for a flyby, and they said, Roger. So me and my wingman, we come in, we did some high-speed passes down the runway, and nothing real exciting, but just show off a little bit, and headed home, went back to bed. We got scrambled first thing the next morning, back down to Fort Corp. So we're coming back this time, and I'm starting to get to be a short guy, short timer, and I said, Phan Thiet Tower, South Delta, 1969. This is January 1st, 1969. And we'd like to come by for a flyby. I said, Roger, Alpha Delta, 1969, you're cleared and hot. And I says, Roger. And I said, 2 hold high. So I came down the deck and come down the runway, about, 400 knots, something around there. About halfway down the runway, popped up 60 degrees, nose high, aileron roll, pitched in on the downwind, dirtied it up, started around the final turn, pretty tight, lit the burner, come around the final turn, and as soon as I got on final, I started cleaning it up, gear first, and then the flaps and all that stuff, and kept the nose down runway, accelerating pretty quick, popped the nose up 60 degrees, got a little clearance, did an aileron roll, turned out traffic, and they said, Alpha Delta 1969, would you like to come by and do that again? I said, we don't have enough gas. But that's probably the craziest thing I did in the Air Force, in the airplanes. But that gets out, I'll probably lose my retirement by now. So there you go. There's other stories, but